Well, I've made it to the middle of Helsinki, and gosh, it's very cold here as well. Anyhow, hopefully it's not too far to the Viking Line. Just as another tram passes by.
Well, I board the tram number 4 to the Kattajanoken terminal through the thick ice. A one-way tram ticket costs €3.80, and you simply buy on board by tapping your card on the reader. I can sit back and enjoy the beauty of this city in the snow and ice. With that, welcome to Carl's Travel Channel, where every journey costs less than £200. Please sit back, relax and enjoy the ride. And always remember, the nearest exit may be behind you. And please remember to like, hype and subscribe. It really does make a difference. I've arrived at the Kattajanoken terminal district, and it's now time to crunch my way through the snow to the terminal itself.
Well, I've just spied my first view of the Gabriella down there, so we'll head and see how we can find our way into the terminal now.
The excitement and adventure builds as I get closer and closer. And there she is, the moment that both you and me have been waiting for, the MS Gabriella. I then make my way over the road here to this classic old terminal building, the Kattajanoken terminal. But you really do have to be careful of this ice. Now it's time to find a place to stand to do an introduction to this video. But talking in -5 Celsius is not easy.
Hi everyone, well I've made it here today for the second voyage of my Scandinavia trip, this time on the Gabriella from Helsinki over to Stockholm on a mini cruise and back. So we'll check in now and see how it is. She's a classic ferry I've wanted to go on for a long time, and the sister ship of the Crown Seaways, which I went on from Copenhagen to Oslo on a very old video you can see back on my channel right at the start. Anyhow, let's check in and we'll see how it goes.
Inside this retro old looking terminal, she's up there on the departure screen. It's time to go up to departures. I'll head through security and see you on the other side. Check-in was a little cumbersome, but I was through in about 15 minutes. On the other side of the harbour, I can spot the Silja Serenade, also off to Stockholm.
Well, I just checked in, and the check-in clerk was, let's just say, not very friendly. I told her I was going on a mini-cruise, and she said that Viking Line don't sell mini-cruises to Stockholm, which is interesting, because that's what I booked, so I'm not sure how that works. Anyhow, we're on the gangway. I waited 5 minutes, and they've opened the queue, so we're heading through to the Gabriella.
And if you have any accessibility needs, this nice long travelator is really useful. And there she is, my first up-close view of the Gabriella herself. And no, this video is not sponsored in any way by Viking Line, or indeed anyone else. Finding my cabin was not too difficult, 5103. The usual test of the ferry keycard, and of course it doesn't work first time, but, second time lucky.
And welcome to my cabin. Obviously the first observation is the beds are not down, but hopefully one of them is made up. And there I am, looking a little bit tired after today, but not too bad really. The first observation is it's very dark in here, so I don't know whether the lights go up further than that. Let's have a look here. No. Ah yes, slightly brighter light there. Well, I'll leave my belongings and unpack my stuff and see if I can work out how the beds work.
What do you think of the cabin yourself? Please let me know in the comments below.
Well, I was going to bring the bed down off camera, but I may as well take you along with the ride for me, so let's have a look. And see what wonders await, or how we get this down. This will be a major challenge. It doesn't move easily. There's a clip there, I see. Yeah, so you have to pull this clip here on the side, and it doesn't look like there's one on the other side, so let's see if this comes down now. And yeah, there we are. Another observation here is it's very, very low off the ground here. You can see my foot only just fits underneath, so that'll be interesting sleeping that low down. But the other one, I'm guessing, is quite high up, because that'll be around around here at waist height. But anyhow, let's get the bed made up and see how that is. Next up is the bathroom, fresh from the cleaners, as they say. So you just turn the light on there on the outside, and we'll have a look in here. So it's very bright pink is the first observation. And what have we got here? So we've got a few water cups here. These are all empty. We've got some soap dispenser. Hopefully there's some soap in it. It doesn't really look like there is, but hopefully there is. Tissue, a toilet roll dispenser down there, and some hooks for some towels. But there are no towels on them, so that's we'll investigate that in a moment. And the shower, which is quite small. It's a small cubicle, but it doesn't look as bad as the one on the Pride of Hull. And I think that's some kind of water scraper, I'm not sure. Let's see if there's any towels in the bedroom here. Yes, they're here on the bed. Perfect. So we'll take those into the bathroom before we forget. One of the peculiar things about this bathroom is if you sit here on the carsy, you're actually facing yourself directly in the mirror. Hence why I've kept the camera down here, but that's a little bit disturbing. And anyway, I've made a little home here for my wash bag and the towels here, so it's enough space in here anyway for all your amenities. Some other things to note here in the room. There are the reading lights here, which presumably is that one for the lower bunk, and a higher one here for the top bunk, which you could just see hidden behind there, and the same on the other side, of course. Now, whereabouts are the plugs? I can't actually see those, which is slightly worrying. Ah, there are two just right down at the bottom of the bed, and that was the same configuration as I had on the Baltic Queen. And to be honest, it's very inconvenient because if you want to sit in bed with your phone, you can't easily do so. Luckily, I've got a very, very long USB cable, which I bring with me, for travelling exactly for that purpose, for inconveniently located plugs. But yeah, that is definitely a design thing. But I guess this ship now, she's an old lady and she wasn't designed with mobile phones in mind. And if you were sat here working at this desk, this small little store is mighty uncomfortable, especially for a long time, so I don't think I'll be doing any video editing on here anyway. But alas, I don't even have my laptop with me because it's basically too heavy to carry around, so I'm not quite sure how Steve Marsh manages that on his trips when I see him in his videos taking his laptop editing. Whilst I'm sat at the desk, however, a few more things to note. Up here on the other side is a coat rail and coat hangers, and there's of course the obligatory ladder there for the top bunk. Safety instructions are up there on the door, and some do's and don'ts on there, and of course the light switches. First lay down on the bed, and I must admit, it does feel rather comfortable, and I don't really notice too much about it being this low down off the floor.
I forgot to add that this is an inside, standard cabin which could sleep up to 4 people. It's not the lowest budget cabin available.
I guess at least the benefit is, if it gets very, very turbulent and you roll out of bed, you've not got far to go.
Now what on earth is this contraption from a vintage catalogue?
Well, I've never seen this before, but there's a large phone inside the room, and it looks like something I remember from my grand's house in the 1980s. It certainly is quite interesting. I'm not entirely sure what it's used for, and some strange radio instructions above this as well.
Let's now head up and explore the ship's decks and passenger areas. On my way up the stairs I pass some coffee and joy. But I'll continue up past these beautiful Viking murals. As you should know by now, the first thing I do when I board a ferry, yes, that's it, head up to the top deck and the outside, which hopefully is somewhere through here. Yes, this is it, the Sandals Sun Deck, up on deck 9, because what more could you want in -5 temperatures? The ice here, though, is treacherous. I best walk slow and keep my footing.
Well, this ship is the sister of the Crown Seaways, as I already said before, and one thing I remember on there are the flooded decks, so clearly this ship also has the same problem. And I certainly don't think I'll be walking through there. There's thick ice. The boarding bridge has just been removed, so I think it will soon be chocks away.
And yes, that is another aviation term added just to catch you out. If you like trucks though, this certainly is the place to come.
I was going to stay upstairs for departure, but it's way too cold out here, so I'm going to go back in the warm for a little bit. And this ice is absolutely treacherous. Okay, that was rather scary, so I think we're going to have to brave walking through here.
On the subject of aviation, luckily today, I didn't get a free flying lesson. The electronic buttons to open the doors certainly are very handy. Up here are just a bunch of cabins. And with some music in the background, I best talk over the top of it.
The rest of Deck 9 is just cabins, so we'll head back downstairs.
I really do love these Viking murals, and they add a nice touch to the vessel. I pass through the currently closed eating areas, which of course I'll make use of later. This is the grill and then continues past the wine shop with this nice grand piano here. But sadly I'm not going to play a melancholic song for you today. To the left is the bistro tech. There really are a wide range of eating options on this vessel. I wish the FDS would take notice of that on theirs. I'll eat a burger here later tonight. I then discovered the delights of this throne, which I was supposed to get another guest to take a picture or video of me on, but sadly I bottled out. There are a lot of cash machines on this ship, should you wish to draw out currency. You can then stick it adjacent into the entertainment machines. We reached the door to the nightclub, the Club Mar, which of course is closed at this time of day, but there again is the entertainment programme. And here is the ferry's currently closed entertainment area, which doesn't open until we're out in the international high seas. It gives you a little preview, however, of what's on offer here. Right, it's time to head back up, as they say in Cockney language, the apples and pears, to get a good view of the ship's departure, out on the open decks. Yes, there's yet more machines in front here, should you be that way inclined, and even an upstairs pub. The pub's opening hours are on the door. Right, let's head through the doors, outside of which a man appears to be using a video camera. You would never catch me using a camera on one of my trips. Oh well, maybe.
Well, we're back out where we started from a moment ago, but avoiding all that ice in the middle. And down the end here is the sun deck bar, which I can't see us using today.
Maybe I was supposed to wear my sandals. And with the obligatory view of the ship's lifebelt, welcome aboard the Gabriella. Out on the rear stern here are the ship's summertime entertainment areas. The nightclub is directly accessed through there to the right, the Club Mar, and it has outside smoking seating here, available also should you wish to use it. It really has almost a Mediterranean vibe, with DJs available, as it says, in the summer. But alas, sadly, we definitely won't be getting to make use of this today. As we approach the flag of Finland, flying proud at the back, let's have a little overview on our ferry today, the MS Gabriella. She was launched on the 23rd of January 1991, but didn't go into service until a whole year later, in 1992, named the Franz Sewell, operating from Sweden to Germany for a company called Euroway. But that service soon ended, and in 1994 she was sold to Viking's competitors Silja Line and became the Silja Scandinavia, where she lasted until 1997 before ending up here as the Gabriella with Viking Line. I just hope they've not forgotten one of our lifeboats being loaded down there onto the ship.
Well, it looks like the vehicles are still going on, and ironically there is a boat being loaded.
There's something strangely fascinating about watching the trucks loading onto the vessel. And with yet another reminder that we're on the sun deck, at least it does fit the description. It is a deck, and there we are, there is sun. The frozen harbour really does look stunning at sunset.
And once again over there is a view of the Silja Serenade, also off to Stockholm today, but a different terminal and part of the city to where we're going.
I make my way upstairs as we're about to set sail. I'm not sure what that strange tower is over there in the distance. But in what seemed like the blink of an eyelid, we've already departed and making our way out through Helsinki harbour. The experience of sailing through this ice is both mesmerising, fascinating and also very beautiful. It does, however, remind me of a more famous ship from 1912. I retreat, however, inside into the warm, and I enjoy my first beer on board, watching the world, or should I say the ice, pass us by. A little look around here inside the bar itself. And with my beer placed a long way away from me, I've excellent view out of the stern, as we crunch our way through the ice out of Helsinki. On this large screen in front, there's an excellent summary of the ship's entertainment programme. There is even karaoke on board, but I'm afraid today you won't be hearing me sing. As for now at least, I'm feeling rather peckish, so it's time to head to the grill. Although technically actually, this is the bistro tech, and I order this very good looking cheeseburger, well cheese and bacon burger, and fries. It costs €19.50 plus €3 extra for the Coca-Cola. All in all, not too bad value really for a ferry. It's time to grab my knife and fork and tuck in. Right, now where shall I begin? Now it's a little bit quieter on board, it's time for the obligatory walkthrough to show you the various different public areas. And of course to walk off that delicious meal. Lifts or elevators, or whatever you call them, are provided on all floors, should you need them. One big benefit over other ferry companies is the Wi-Fi on Viking Line is free for use, though there is also a faster premium Wi-Fi if you wish to use it also, for a fee though of course. And there goes a notification on my phone to prove it does work. Coffee and Joy is once again closed and shackled up for the night. A first view here of her deck plans, and I noticed they all have names. I don't recall them having so on other ferries. Maybe you could confirm that for me in the comments below. I then passed through the duty-free shopping area, and then just behind that is an assortment or array of different machines, including of course these little pick-up cuddly bear machines which I see on all ferries. You could spot me in the mirror there as I walk past. Some storage lockers are provided here, but if you're on a mini cruise, there's not really much use for them. I guess it's just if you're going to Mariehamn and have no cabin. I'll have a little sit down here to reflect on video making. Some useful information boards here on things to do in Stockholm and Helsinki. I continue the walk through slowly back down to my cabin, where a few machines are provided littered around on different floors. As I head down, I then spot that the game room is empty, so I'll take you in there and show you the machines they have on offer. There's the usual air hockey table, and of course, these two bike machines, which seem to feature on every ferry I go on. Superbikes 3. Over in the middle there is some other strange hit the green contraption. I'm not sure what that is. According to the signage, there is also a spa and sauna down here, but alas, that's too extreme and luxurious for a budget travel channel. So I'll head back down to my cabin, and I'll speed this up to double speed to get the show on the road, so you don't get too bored. And you can also see here, really, how big the ship actually is. And I've made it back to normal speed. Now let's see if the keycard will work on this occasion. Let's have our first attempt. And no. And, oh well, second time lucky this time. And get ready for me to almost trip over the stall. Luckily, I kept upright. And well, that's it. Back in my cabin for the night. So we'll bunk down in bed. Well, I'm all tucked in and settled into my bunk, and I must say I really do like sleeping at sea. There's just that nice quiet sound of the fans and the gentle rocking motion of the ship. So good night from the Baltic Sea and from the MS Gabriella.
Well, good morning from the Gabriella and the Baltic Sea. Actually, I think that was a pretty good night's sleep. I did wake up, sadly, though, at around 3 a.m. and stayed up for about 2 hours, which took me about 2 hours to get back to sleep again. But overall, the bed was comfortable, despite it being low down to the floor. There was no engine noise or vibration, and there was no lurching around of the ship. So, all in all, I think that was a successful night in a ship, as far as a successful night in a cabin can go, because they're always too short, unless you have a sailing that arrives in the afternoon. Anyway, we'll get up now and we'll go and use the shower and try that out and see what the shower is like. Well, I just used the shower and that was actually not too bad, really. I mean, the water pressure was fairly okay. The temperature controller was slightly on the hot side, which I never like too much. But no, the shower seems to pass anyway. My only real complaint really in the bathroom is the sink actually doesn't drain water, and if you turn the tap on, it fills up the water quite quickly and then takes forever to drain. Well, right, all nice and ready. My face and hair is sellotaped on, so let's go and check out the breakfast. So this time I finally make it for some coffee and joy, which now on Stockholm time is open 7 a.m. to 10:30 a.m. A nice selection of mostly seafood sandwiches. And wow, what better view could you get for breakfast than this? Arriving in Sweden through the many coastal islands. Wall outlets are provided to charge your devices, and, well, being Scandinavia now, I go for fish croissant, washed down with a cafe latte. This all cost approximately €10, and it really was very delicious. Whilst eating, I'll sit back and relax and watch the arrival into Sweden in the nice and warm. Sadly though, the warm doesn't last too long, as I decide to torture myself with the outside decks again. Luckily on this section there isn't much ice. And if you got this far, you can add me now to Instagram at Carl's Travel Channel. But don't leave this video just yet, because we're about to arrive in Stockholm. It's always fascinating walking along, seeing all of the different nautical equipment, none of which really I have any idea what it does. There's a strange contraption here that even looks like a fishing net. If you know what it is, please let me know in the comments below. However, anyhow, the view over there is beautiful, and I think that's even our first glimpse of Stockholm. As we make our descent and final approach, you'll never believe how much this 2-night mini-cruise actually cost me. Well, on the Viking Line website, which you could get at many dates throughout the year, it costs, yes, an amazing €92. That includes the standard cabin. There's an even cheaper option available in a budget cabin for about €10 less. Admittedly, you won't get that price during the summer, but for winter, it really is ideal and one of the best bargains out there. Now I know on YouTube that you really do not like scenery, but I'll show you a few seconds of it anyway, just because I enjoyed it myself. Well, you could
breathe a sigh of relief that the scenery is over. And just over there, we're already approaching the Viking Line terminal in Stockholm. Nice and accessible boarding bridges are provided for foot passengers. Brittany ferries, take note. As we make the turn into dock, a lovely view of the Gröna Lund, Stockholm's theme park. I'll be heading over there later, but it's on a separate video. Alighting was quick and easy down the very icy gangplank. Only the windows, that is, were shielded in here from the elements. Also an excellent view of the ferry can be had. She really does remind me of the Crown Seaways back on my old trip and video to Copenhagen, which I'll be making a new video of again soon. Departure screens are provided outside of the very cold Viking terminal.
Well, I've just arrived in Stockholm, and all in all that was a really fantastic voyage. I love my first trip on board the Viking Line and the Gabriella. But now we're heading into the city and see if we can find a few things to do before getting back on to continue my mini cruise later on today. Right, walking and heading now into the city centre, back past the old Gabriella. I really did enjoy my time on board her actually. She was quite different to the Baltic Queen on Tallink, which you can also see on my channel. I thought the entertainment on the Baltic Queen was better than on the Gabriella, but the staff are friendlier on the Viking Line, and probably some of the facilities were slightly more polished. But anyhow, let's continue in Stockholm and see where we go.
A bus terminal is halfway to the city centre for those who want to travel further afield. It certainly is absolutely freezing.
Well, after around a 15-minute walk in the freezing cold, I've made it around the harbour to Gamla Stan, and hopefully in a moment I'll catch one of the little ferry boats over to the Viking Museum. But I think first of all I need to stop for a coffee to warm up because my lips have gone totally numb.
This place is right on the harbour, the Broad and Salt, so let's go and check it out. Very pleasant, but beware, the coffee in Scandinavia is very expensive. 63 Swedish krona or £5.16 in UK money. And cheers, if you're allowed to say cheers, with a cup of coffee. And my gosh, I do look very, very tired this morning.
Well, I managed to find a coffee here in the warm, and it was a little bit complicated ordering it here. There's quite a large system for queuing up, but I think I worked it out in the end. Well, coffee done, so I'm now ready to board the Djurgården ferry line again, the line number 8, across to the Gröna Lund, and then from there to the Viking Museum.
Well, if you would like to see my journey across to the Gröna Lund and the island of Skeppsholmen, then you'll have to see that on another video, which I will release soon, because algorithms and audiences cannot cope with more than one topic per video.
Nästa stopp, Djurgården.
In fact, I think if I took you over to the island on this video, you would go into complete meltdown. So let's head back to the Gabriella, and up there I spy this amazing observation lift, but I literally have no idea what it is and couldn't find online. If you know, please let me know in the comments. After another 10 minutes or so of nearly slipping on the ice, I'm back at the Viking Line and Birka Line terminals. I then spy my first view of another vessel I want to try out one day, the Birka Gotland. She's dedicated just to my favourite thing, mini cruises. For now, however, let's continue onwards, back on board the Gabriella.
Well, heading back on board through the terminal, nice and quick and easy. If you're on the mini cruise, you don't even need to check in again, which is the first time I've not needed to do that, because on most mini cruises you do, so that makes this one even easier. So we're heading now back on board.
So 4 thumbs up to the Viking Line and the Gabriella, because if I mention her enough times in the video, the search engine may even send the correct traffic to my video. Well, one could always hope anyway. A nice welcome back, and they've even rolled out the red carpet for me. There's no staff though to welcome you back, which is a little strange for a ferry. My cabin is on the same deck as the gangplank, so it's a nice easy journey back here along deck 5, and hopefully my bag is still in the room. And oh wow, this time it even worked. First time. I do apologise, however, about the state I left the bed in.
Well, that was amazing, quick and easy getting back on. I kind of wish I'd have come back here earlier now, but I was enjoying the Vasa Museum too much. Anyhow, nice and back in the warm. I think my face is pretty much frozen solid, so it now needs to thaw out, have a little rest in here, and then get back up and enjoy the ship upstairs.
Hyttä ja yhden pitkän äänimerkin tulee teidän siirtyä kokoontumisasemalle. Pysykää rauhallisina ja noudattakaa henkilökunnan antamia ohjeita. Dear passengers, the captain and his crew wish you welcome on board on Viking Line's MS Gabriella. Doors to the car deck are closed during the voyage. We would like you to pay attention to the following information about safety on board. Please get familiarized with the location of emergency exit routes to your muster station. In case of an emergency, you will hear the general alarm, 7 short signals and 1 long, which indicates that you need to go to your muster station. Stay calm and follow the crew's instructions. There are 6 muster stations. 2 inside on decks 5 and 7 in the middle of the ship, 2 outside on deck 9 back, and 2 outside on deck 10 front. In case of an evacuation, the crew will provide life jackets at the muster stations. If needed, passengers are guided from muster stations to lifeboats and rafts. More information about safety is posted inside the door of each cabin. The safety video is shown non-stop on TV channel 17. If you have any further questions about safety, our crew is happy to answer all your questions. The entire crew of MS Gabriella wish you an enjoyable voyage.
Well, there you go. I always love a good announcement. I was feeling very tired and had a little snooze in my cabin, so by the time I make it back outside, we'd already long departed and were on our way back up through the islands. But wow, as before, the scenery really is very breathtaking. And the water very calm and tranquil. It wasn't choppy at all. And don't worry, this is only my selfie stick. I'm not leaning over the edge. But the ice is back out in full force on the smoking decks. And even though ashtrays are provided, it's less than ideal. If you're a smoker, it really wouldn't hurt too much if someone came out with a broom. As just seen, these decks are often used also by dog walkers. Right, let's head back down to the stern of the ship. You could still see Stockholm fading in the distance. Let's wave goodbye to her. But for us now, it's full steam ahead. It's then time to head to the bar for a beer to welcome myself back on board. As you can see, it's currently packed, full of customers, but I've had to mute it because of the music.
Well, time for my first beer on board. Cheers.
Maybe not the best beer, it looks slightly flat. I best talk though over the music. And you certainly cannot get a better view from that from a bar. Overlooking the stern of the ship, you can see one of the local ferries behind us, using our slipstream to traverse its way between the various islands. On this inbound voyage, I decide to get daring, so I head to the Club Mar, which also has this cool circular staircase up to a mezzanine floor upstairs. As you can see, it's absolutely packed, full of clubbers. It is quite cool, however, and there are a lot of camels. I wondered if first of all if it was a smoking area, but alas, on the windows here it does say non-smoking.
Well, this cool floor up here I didn't actually see earlier on, but just discovered it now. It's quite nice and looks like it's totally empty and nobody else has either.
It's then time to watch the Troubadour, as they call them, this time Christo Sebastian. He was good and entertaining, and I'll carry on talking over the music due to YouTube rules. Next up was the music-themed bingo, where you had to guess the song with very few cues, and then shout bingo when you've got it. And well, I really couldn't believe it, but for the first time ever, yes, I actually won. And I won the top prize, which was a free mini-cruise. So on that happy and positive note, I'll say goodnight again from the Baltic Sea and from the Gabriella, and I'll see you in the morning.
Well, good morning for my second night aboard the Gabriella, and that was a much shorter night's sleep due to the time and the clocks going back by 1 hour, and also we ended up in the bar a little bit too late last night. However, it was fun, and of course I won the bingo and a free ticket back on the Viking Line, which I can't be happy enough with. The sea was a lot more choppy last night, a lot more rough, and there was a lot more crunching through ice and shuddering of the ship. However, it didn't really seem to disturb my sleep too much. Anyhow, I head in the bathroom and get ready to go pack my bags and head off. Well, as they say in the song, the bag's packed and I'm ready to go. And I feel a little bit more bright-eyed and bushy-tailed now, so we'll go up to the coffee store and see if I can get any light snack for breakfast and a coffee to wake me up.
Once again I head to the Coffee and Joy. On a future sailing, I should find the onboard buffet instead. I am later today, and by the time I've eaten, we're already docking. The 1970s buildings of the Kattajanoken terminal and Helsinki slip into view. A final wave goodbye around the now empty, closed and deserted vessel. I enjoy these trips so much, I always feel a little bit sad at this moment. Alighting once again is fairly straightforward and easy, and with the bridges you do not need to wait for the cars. A wave goodbye to the Viking Line and to the MS Gabriella, but with the free ticket and one in the bingo, I'll be sure to be back soon. Which Viking Line route and vessel shall I go on? Let me know in the comments below. Just as we emerge, the trucks emerge also. Outside, the snow though is even thicker than before I left.
Well, I've arrived back here at the Viking Line terminal in Helsinki, so now it's time to catch the tram. All in all, a very great trip.
Running for a tram through this ice is certainly not recommended, but oh well, I am anyway. Phew, I make it on board the number 5, back to the city centre. Once again, fare is only €3.80 and you tap and buy it from the machines on board. Just peeking through there, my final wave goodbye to the MS Gabriella. It's always interesting seeing the various shops in new cities. After a pleasant 10 minutes or so journey through the snowy covered city centre, I get my first view of the grand Helsinki Central Station building. Its imposing structure was built in 1919, designed by architect Elil Saarinen.
Well, I made it here to the central station, so I'll grab a drink and see how long the trains are. It certainly is very snowy.
Then, just completely coincidentally, one of my friends from London happened to be in Helsinki, so I met them here for a coffee. As he was more clued up on the local area than me, he then kindly showed me back into the train station. Here, you can even see the ice coming in through the roof, really quite stunning. Here we are, platform 19, to the airport. Journey time will be about 30 minutes, and once again, you buy your ticket on board from the machine, just like on the tram. And so, here we go. As we disappear into the tunnel, if you would like to see my inbound journey from Helsinki back to London, I might well upload that in the future on another video, so keep your eyes peeled on my channel. With that, thank you for watching Carl's Travel Channel. Please like, subscribe, and I'll see you, of course, on the next one.